As we mentioned, the president has not been on a debate stage since 2016. Back then, Philippe Reins played the role of then-Republican nominee Donald Trump for Hillary Clinton's debate prep. Here's some of what they had to prepare for.
A good job in the 1990s. I think a lot about what worked and how we can make it work again.
Well, he approved
3 million
NAFTA.
new jobs,
he approved
a balanced
NAFTA,
budget,
which is the single worst trade deal ever approved in this country.
Incomes went up for everybody. Just join the debate by saying more crazy things. Now, let me say
there's nothing crazy about not letting our companies bring their money back into their country.
This is Secretary Clinton's 2 minutes, please.
Yeah, well, let's start the clock again, Lester. Starting when I was a senator from New York. But that's not the point here.
Why didn't you do it? Why didn't you do it?
Because I was a senator with a Republican president.
Oh, really?
I will be the president.
You could have done it. If you were an effective senator, you could have done it. If you were an effective senator, you could have done it. But you were not an effective
Please allow her to
senator.
respond. She didn't interrupt you.
That's part of my commitment to raise taxes on the wealthy. My Social Security payroll contribution will go up, as will Donald's, assuming he can't figure out how to get out of it. But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
And former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State and Senior Advisor to Hillary Clinton, Philippe Reins, joins me now. Philippe, welcome. So you said that the key to beating President Trump in a debate is to, quote, get out of his way. What did you mean by that?
First, I want to thank you for that just lovely walk down memory lane.
How'd you feel about that, Philippe?
Parts of it I want to laugh, parts of it I want to cry. I'll probably do it after we hang up. What I mean by that is, look, there is one Donald Trump. People argue which Donald Trump are we going to see. There's one. You see him, you cover the White House, you see what's happening every single day. We see it 3 to 5 times a week for the last 6 months. That guy is showing up tonight. There's no other guy. So that guy is not doing well. That guy, he's got his 40%, but the rest of America is not so keen on the bluster, on the bombast, on the line. Now, it makes good TV, and if Donald Trump's strategy is to really take advantage of the biggest audience he's going to have this campaign, then yeah, he can enjoy himself, and maybe even some people will say he won the debate, but he's losing the race. And if his goal were to come into this debate and try to do some good for himself, he would take a different approach. But as a human being, he's not capable of doing it. So everyone's focused on how is Joe Biden going to react? What is Joe Biden going to say? Is he going to fact check him? Is he going to keep his cool? Is he going to lose his cool? The truth of the matter is, if I were Joe Biden, and I would say, hi, Chris Wallace, the moderator, thank you for being here tonight. And thank you to Case University for hosting us. And with that, I yield my 45 minutes to Donald Trump, because the guy never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. And while 4 years ago it was hard to watch about those clips, was that you do see how within the interrupting and the histrionics, he's delivering message, whether it was job creation or trade, and he was getting in his knocks on her. Now he doesn't do that. Now when he opens his mouth, it's a list of grievances about how slippery ramps are and about how perfect his transcripts are and angry Democrats. And it's one thing if he stands in the Rose Garden and he has all the time in the world to go off for 50 minutes and throw in some stuff about Joe Biden. He's got 2 or 3 minutes at a shot tonight. If he wants to send, each of those men have to decide, do I want to spend 90 minutes quarreling with the other guy, or do I want to spend 90 minutes talking to the audience? It's clear what choice Trump is going to make. It's clear that Joe Biden knows the more he talks to the audience, the better he is. That doesn't mean he's going to stand there and take whatever comes at him. And by the way, if he just stood there and took it, a lot of people would say, including me, I don't want to see someone who can't defend themselves, who can't be strong in the face of being bullied. So Joe Biden has a hard job, but Donald Trump has a bigger task, and I'm pretty confident that he's going to blow it. And even the last thing I'll say is, in the 1% chance that he took this mythical debate drug himself and he were to give a good performance and say, everyone should wear masks and we're going to test more, it'll stop tomorrow. He'll undo anything he does. So that guy's going to show up and that guy's losing. And that guy is counting on Joe Biden to, I don't know, have some kind of health event that disqualifies himself. mean, that's a pretty passive plan.
You know, Philippe, I want to ask you a question having to do with gender, because you raised this notion of Donald Trump interrupting Secretary Clinton during the debate. Let's go ahead and, at the risk of alienating you, Philippe, we're going to play for some of our viewers here who may have missed our montage off the top, just a little bit of what we saw in 2016. Let's listen.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
You know, Philippe, I'm not even sure what the question is. I think I start with this idea. Do you think there is a difference in the expectation of a male candidate versus a female candidate when it comes to engaging in these kinds of verbal confrontations in a place like a general election debate?
There's absolutely no doubt. I mean, no one tonight is going to look at Joe Biden and say, oh, he interrupted Donald Trump. How, testy of him or how touchy of him. Hillary Clinton was the first major party nominee. And without going down this path too much, we look at these debates and we look at moments like these and we try to envision a president. We only had 44 men who have been president. So it's hard, it's impossible to imagine a woman. Now, Hillary herself has written in her book, in that moment later on where he's stalking her, that I want to turn around and say, back off, creep. You know what? The idea that everyone would applaud and think that's so great, it would have been good TV. And in hindsight, I wish she had done it. But we'd also be talking about, does she have the temperament? Did she lose her cool? Did she, is she too words that I won't say on, family-friendly mediums? And Joe Biden
does that give Joe Biden an advantage? Sorry, Philippe, I don't mean to interrupt, but does that mean Joe Biden has an advantage that Hillary Clinton didn't?
It is. I mean, that one clip, he said she is such a nasty woman. We're all sitting here like, oh, yeah, I remember that moment. That's just another day in our life. You wouldn't have said that. He's not going to say, he might say to Chris Wallace, that's such a nasty question, or that is such a nasty person. And maybe he says to Joe Biden, you're so nasty, but it's different. When he said, what he won't say, which he said to Hillary, she doesn't have that presidential look. And I don't think he was talking about her tie or lack of. He was saying she's a woman, that she's shorter, she can't bench press as much. I mean, I don't even know what he's saying, but you know it when you hear it. And no, that's not something that Joe Biden has to deal with. And unfortunately, that's probably going to redound to his benefit. I mean, Hillary I love her to death, and I've worked for her and known her since 2002, but she has an incredibly annoying habit of being right about 4 or 5 years too early.
Well, let me ask you this. If you're Joe Biden, do you see these debates more as an opportunity or a potential liability, given what we've seen so far with respect to the trajectory of this contest?
No, I would be excited if first of all, as a human, these people get nervous too. And, he spent some time figuring out what kind of tie he should wear. But if I were Joe Biden, he knows he's ready. It might get ugly. He'll have good moments, he'll have bad moments, but he knows that this is the best opportunity to talk to audiences that might not ever see. I mean, this is just a lot of people. You're going to have people tonight that are tuning in to Fox to watch Tucker who are going to say, oh, I'm bumping into a debate. They're going to see them for 90 minutes, and they're going to see them without a filter. Now, they might be yelling and talking over each other, but it's not until later at night that the likes of Sean Hannity gets their hands on these clips and starts to say other things. And that does not benefit Donald Trump. Donald Trump needs that filter. He needs the artificial, the guy, Brit Hume on Fox a little while ago said that he's convinced that Joe Biden is senile. You know what the problem is? Joe Biden's not senile, and we're all about to see that he's not senile. And yes, these are opportunities. And it's in very simple terms, the debate is a huge moment, but it's just another moment. His convention speech was a moment. His being yesterday at a rally is a moment. His giving a speech next week is a moment. The campaign is a totality of moments. And Joe Biden's have been consistent. What Joe Biden says tonight is what he's going to say tomorrow is what he said last month. Donald, and that seems to be working with enough people to put him in office, hopefully. Donald Trump, what he says tonight, some of it will be the same, but he's so proud of the fact that he's got new lines of attack on Joe Biden. I'm sorry, if it's 35 days left and you're still trying to figure out what to say, then you aren't just blowing a big moment. You've been blowing every moment until now.
All right. Well, we are just minutes away. Philippe Reins. Philippe, thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.